Hey guys and gals, today I'm going to show you how to make a burn barrel out of a 55-gallon drum that works really well and lasts for years. And I did it in a 4 or 5 step process here. So the first thing is the barrel. I prefer the ones that come with the removable lid because you can use it as a rain cap. You don't want rain getting in there. The rain destroys these barrels. All the ones you'll see that rotted out, they rotted out on the bottom because the rain gets into the ashes, it sits there, it holds the moisture, and it's acidic too, so it rots out the steel quick. So with the cap on there, the rain never gets in there, so it'll last longer. And I've seen people on YouTube, they drill holes in the bottom for drainage, but that really doesn't do much because the ashes are so muddy, they just never get a chance to dry out. And then next time you start a fire, all the hot embers fall into the mud and they go out. So it's like the mud works against the fire. It's just smart to get one with spend a little extra, get one with the lid. You can pick them up on Craigslist with lids for 25 to 30 bucks. The solid ones that are, welded all around, those are, I see them for $15, $20, but then you got to cut the top off and it leaves a sharp edge, and then it's open to the elements, so you got to cover it with, if you want it to last, you got to cover it with plywood or whatever. So I got everything organized here to make it easy. Step one is draw out the cutout with a ruler and a Sharpie. And I found the best measurements are 5.5 from the bottom, 6 inches wide, and then go up 3 inches and make a mark at 7 inches. That's where the flap is gonna, the rain flap is gonna fold up. And then I cut the sharp corners off too, so that when you're lighting it, you don't cut yourself or injure yourself on the sharp, pointy corners. So that's step one. Step two, you'll need a drill with a 5/16 bit, drill bit. I start out with a smaller, I think 1/8 inch first, just because you can get it more precise, get it located more precisely. Then I come back with the 5/16 and drill it out. And I only need 2 holes. You can put 4 holes in if you want, one in the 4 corners, but I only need 2. And I find, and this is, you do the one cut that way, one cut this way, one cut that way, then the final cut that way, and then the piece drops out. The cutout drops into the barrel. Don't cut the corners off yet. Just cut out the rectangular piece. Well, here's the saw I use. It's a Skill orbital jigsaw. I used for many years just a cheap Black & Decker. It lasted me 20 years, but it wasn't an orbital. And that finally died a few months ago, so I bought this for 15 bucks on Marketplace, and it's an orbital. And with the blades that I thought were dull in the Black & Decker, I put in this thing, and they were cutting 3 times as fast. So something with that orbital action, I don't understand it, but if you just got a cheap, like standard jigsaw, it's not going to cut as fast as an orbital. That's what I discovered. I was pretty amazed by it. And you want to wear ear protection because it gets loud, and eye protection. And when cutting it, if you got neighbors that don't like a lot of noise, put the lid and the clamp on, because if you're cutting it without the lid and clamp, it just the noise just resonates. It makes it louder. So that's the cut. So I did the 4 cuts, and you cut out the rectangular part first. Then cut the 2 corners off, and then do these 2 final ones. Do those last, because if you just go zip right to the top, cutting those corners off, it seems like this thing wanted to flop up and down, and the saw was jumping and skipping. So I do those before I go to the top. So that's step 3, and step 4 is bending the rain flap up. I do a little bit of filing on some of these surfaces, because there's a lot, after it's rough cut, there's a lot of sharp edges and burrs. So I'll file this, I'll file underneath here, under there, I get as much as I can before I fold it up, because when you fold up the flap, it makes it a little more difficult to file some of the areas. So now to fold the flap up, use the cutout that you cut out of here, put it onto the rain flap, or the rain drip edge, put the two vice grips on there, and at the same time pull them up to about a 45-degree angle. And then take the vice grips off, and you'll have the finished product here. Let me fold this down. It'll look like that. And then do the final filing. Take all the sharp edges off, and then I round the corners off here. Remember the corners that we cut at a 45? I just round them off. So there's no points, no sharp edges, because this is the best lighting point. After you load it up with your, newspaper, cardboard, brush, you light it right here, and all the updraft just gets this thing going good.